The market's dominated by Samsung, HTC, Apple, LG, and more, but BLU is an up-and-coming manufacturer based in the Miami area that's releasing some pretty great smartphones at a reasonable price. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com. BLU's Life One device, which is arguably their flagship, is in the office, and we're taking a look in the full review. At $300 off contract, can this compete on price and on specs? Let's go find out. After releasing several devices intended to compete in the Android space, the BLU Life One is finally here. Now, BLU has made quite a few devices, and we've seen them on PhoneDog.com and on YouTube.com/PhoneDog, the BLU Life Play, the BLU Life View, but this is arguably the flagship device in BLU's product portfolio right now. This thing can be had at NegriElectronics.com right now for $298.50. $300 for an unlocked device with pretty solid specifications and a nice metal housing as well makes the BLU Life One a device worth considering, even though it doesn't have that LG or Samsung or Apple or HTC name. Definitely worth checking out. Now, to give you a specs rundown here, the BLU Life One, you're looking at really nice specs all around. A 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Cortex A7 CPU. You've got a nice 5-inch display here. It is 720p, not quite 1080, but 720 by 1280 pixels, 294 ppi. On the back, you're rocking a 13 megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, a removable 2000 milliamp hour battery, Android 4.2 Jelly Bean with some minor customizations, which we'll talk about in the full review, front-facing camera, and more. I should point out, the front-facing camera itself is a nice camera, 5 megapixel camera on the front. This thing comes in at a really nice size, about 145 grams, 5.11 ounces, and 0.35 inches thick. So really a nice unit all around and very thin, and the metal on the sides looks nice. Speaking of the sides, let's take a look here. On the housing side, left spine, you get your volume rocker. Right side, you get your power button. Up top, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Down here at the bottom, micro USB charging port and microphone. Kind of a similar design here to another manufacturer with the way they've got the metal around the edges with the brakes for the antenna. And then on the back, yes, it is plastic, but this does come with a case out of the box. And again, keeping in mind what you get for the money, the bang for the buck here is really intense, like camping. Intense. Guy camping, get it? Ha! That's my bad joke of the day. Before I get too far, I want to thank our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the BLU Life One and other devices for use in our One-Pawed Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll make sure your email, your web, your contacts on whatever device you get set up and ready to go, so you don't have to waste the time doing it. It's part of their great walkout working program. And also take a look at this device at Negri Electronics. So let's jump right in and see what you get out of the box. You can see some minor customizations and changes. One of those, you may be thinking to yourself, how is this pink? This should be kind of stock Android blue. Well, I'll show you how that works. Settings in here, you can see all of your settings, wireless and networks, device, personal accounts, and more. And I can go in here and it does give me a level of customization to come in here and go to, for example, display. And I can come down and select my theme, and I've got a couple of different options to choose from. Green happens to be my favorite color, so I'll change it to green. And you can see that in place of raspberry, I've got the green option now, and everything is lighting up in green color. So again, Android 4.2 here, so you do have the joint notification bar area and the shortcuts here with quick access to airplane mode, battery life, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. And I can easily get to those by bringing down both fingers or pulling down with one finger and switching over right there. I also have quick access to my settings. The biggest downside I see after working with this device for a couple of days, you'll notice that this is the white device. You'll notice there are 3 capacitive buttons down here, but you may not see them because they're that hard to see. The backlight is white, or almost kind of a blue-white, if you will, and very hard to see up against the white backdrop of the device itself. That's the biggest challenge I've had. Otherwise, pretty smooth and quick all around. Let's take a look at PhoneDog.com here, and you can see 5-inch display here again, keeping in mind 720p, so you're not rocking a 1080p HD display, but you are rocking a really nice unit here. 5 inches, I think, for a lot of people, a great balance between too small, people complaining about 4 to 4.3 inches, and too large, those people that don't want to carry 5.7, 5.5, 6.44 on the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. By the way, I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. I did select it to stay on for 30 minutes, but it still seems to be dimming at opportunities that it can. So PhoneDog.com loaded up right now. Portrait to landscape, nice and fast on this device, little to no lag, but you can see it exudes a premium quality feel all around. One thing I really like about this device is the display, because from a content creation standpoint, 5 inches is a great sweet spot for watching YouTube videos, perhaps browsing the web, and something I do on a regular basis, read, be it reading news articles on the internet or reading ebooks. it's a great display for that. And I love reading books. It's a huge thing for me, and I have some pull around these parts. So I've partnered with our partners at Audible. You can go to audible.com/PhoneDog and download an audiobook for free, and you can use it on your Android device with the Audible application. Now, Audible's awesome all around. They offer over 150,000 downloadable titles, and whether it's nonfiction, science fiction, or periodicals that you love, you can get your reading fix right here on your device itself. Earlier this morning, I was listening to The Litigators by John Grisham. I'm a huge John Grisham fan, and right now I have Hunger Games pulled up, as you see right here. But huge John Grisham fan. I love to see what's going on with Oscar Finley and Wally Figg in The Litigators. Awesome read all around. And for me, I have a 45-minute to about an hour and a half commute to my office, depending on how bad traffic is. So what I do, pop in an audiobook, plug it into that 3.5mm jack, plug it into my car, and listen through my speakers while I'm on the road. Super awesome all around, and it's all thanks to Audible right here on my Android device. Now again, you can go to audible.com/PhoneDog, download your own audiobook and take a listen. And a couple of my favorite features, you can come in here, for example, and this one is a big one for me. You know, everybody has different preferences when it comes to the reading styles and the speed in which people read. For me, 1.5 times the speed is the perfect speed of reading. So you can see 1.5 here. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can share with your friends via social media, email, Gmail, Google+, etc. And you can customize this and really make it your own audiobook experience, all thanks to Audible. Keeping up on that screen size trend, let's take a look at the keyboard on this device as well. And this is where you're going to see some of the customizations that BLU have made to this unit, or BLU has made rather, to this unit. You can see here typical Android keyboard, but you get an option for almost an emoji-like interaction here, and of course I can add right here and see capture picture, capture video. Now all of this is very much a BLU customization, but I can scroll through and say, hey, let's do a video, let's do a picture, let's capture a picture. It just looks different than the traditional Android layout. And also you see that over in the phone as well. Obviously my mint color theme here prevalent in the actual dialer itself. I can come through here and do a video call, and then I can go into my recent calls and see all calls, or I can organize it out by recent, received, missed, etc. And I can jump right in to my contacts if that's something that I wanted to do. So just some minor customizations. You see it throughout this unit. And another benefit here, you know, a lot of people like those features that Samsung includes on the Samsung Galaxy S4 and Samsung Galaxy Note 3, and to an extent with the HTC One as well. Well, I can turn on smart gestures on this device as well. And I've got proximity unlock, a bunch of different options. Proximity answer phone, dial phone, so I can turn on proximity unlock, for example, and I can turn the device off. And when I turn it back on, I can wave over and it should unlock the device just like that. So you're getting these premium software experiences in a device that is under $300, which I like quite a bit, or $298.50 to be exact. You've got Notebook as well. This is something that I find particularly useful. I'm a huge note taker on my phone. Increasingly, these are becoming bigger and bigger parts of our lives, whether it's a grocery list or whether it's a to-do list for work. You've got the ability right out of the box. And not to say that you can't download this stuff from the Android store, from Google Play, I should say, but you got this out of the gate with this device. Also want to point this out as well. Quadrant standard. Let's take a look at the overall speeds in this device and see how it performs in comparison to other high-end devices on the market, because this is packing pretty decent specs. You've got a nice 1.2 gigahertz quad-core CPU. You've got a pretty solid 5.7-inch display that's 720p. You've got a lot of different choices, or a lot of different software goodies and hardware goodies as well on this device. 16 gigabytes of internal storage. Pretty nice little unit. It only has 1 gigabyte of RAM, but again, keeping in mind the price point. Let's take a look and see how it performs. Now, 2,000 milliamp hour battery. The pro is it's removable. The con, it doesn't last quite as long as the HTC One, the Galaxy S4, the Galaxy Note 3 from early tests that others are posting, and then LG G2 from my personal tests. Does not last as long as those, but still, again, be mindful of the price point here and what you get for $298 as opposed to $500, $600, $700. And I know I keep harping on that point, but it's very important here. The price is a huge feature, and it's obviously a huge marketing thing that BLU uses on a regular basis when they're marketing these devices. Run through Quadrant Standard here and take a look. Overall, this device, I've been really pleased with it. This is by far my favorite device in the BLU lineup of smartphones right now. Love the metal on the sides, and it gives a premium feel for a price that doesn't break the bank, which I like. So we'll load this up and take a look here. It's going through everything pretty quickly and fast. The biggest issue I'm having, again, is with those capacitive buttons down there at the bottom. They're just hard to see. White on white is often pretty hard to see. So we'll go down here and hit yes, and you can see 4,075 in Quadrant Standard, so a far cry from the 12 and 13,000 scores that we see on some of the high-end Android devices like the One, the Galaxy S4, etc., the G2. But keep in mind, what you're getting here. And also want to point out, take it with a grain of salt. It's not always indicative of day-to-day performance. Sometimes it's fast, haven't had any issues with it, but in comparison to the high-end, just spec for spec, it is a little bit different. So all around, very impressed with this device. You got your file manager as well. I can see my phone storage, and I can pull off the battery cover here and show you what's behind the scenes. Pull this off. And then you can see the dual SIM card slots. Now this is one other downside of this device. It does take mini SIM cards, not micro SIM cards, not nano SIM cards, mini SIM cards, which if you're wondering why I don't have one in the device right now, it's because I don't have an AT&T or T-Mobile unit that has a mini SIM card that I can put in it. You do get a micro SD card slot. Love the dual SIM capability. I think that's a great feature. Wish they were nano SIMs or micro SIMs as opposed to the older mini SIM. I think that might be an issue for some people, and granted you can pick up one at an AT&T store or T-Mobile store, but it's going to be a little bit harder to switch from any device that's been made in recent, say year and a half. So that's something to be mindful of. Last but not least, the camera on this device. You've got a pretty solid 13 megapixel camera here. You've got BLU's little customization here at the beginning. I know. And let's jump into the camera and take a gander here. Again, green color scheme, very prevalent here. You can see HDR options, and I've got those just by swiping down. Panorama, got multi-angle view images, scene modes, and then I've got the ability to switch settings over here and access things like GPS location info, anti-flicker, and then within the pictures itself, the size of the pictures, the ISO, etc. over here in the settings, and I can switch quickly and easily between my camera and my camcorder as well. White balance right there, all these different options, auto capture when smiles detected, and then of course HDR as well. So pretty impressed with the camera on this device. We'll bring over the G2 quickly to take a look, and let's see how it looks on this. We'll go ahead and focus in on the T-Mobile logo here since this one just came in. Let's get it focused. There we go. Snap a shot, and let's see what we got on this unit. So we'll take a look, swipe back and forth between the real-time camera and the images, and you can see T-Mobile right there. So not, at least at first glance, the best 13 megapixel camera, and the features aren't quite all there in comparison to some of the other devices on the market, but still pretty pleased with the overall performance. So this device is definitely a contender. It's going to depend on what's most important to you. If you're looking for a high-end smartphone at an inexpensive price, doesn't matter to you if it's Apple or LG or Samsung or HTC, great option in the BLU Life One. This is a gorgeous device. I love the metal around the sides. Best device I've seen from them to date. Really excited about their future as well. The downside may be 1 GB of RAM instead of 2 GB or even 3 GB like the Note 3. It misses out on a couple of things, that 1080p HD displays and more, and some of the goodies you get in the software with Sense 5, with TouchWiz and more. But overall, really a nice device that's worth looking at if you want a replacement, maybe one for the weekend. You lost your phone, you don't want to spend $600. It's a great option and heavily worth considering. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for more on the BLU Life One. I'm on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron and would love to hear from you as to your thoughts on this device. Let me know, or on Facebook at Facebook.com/HiAaronBaker. Thanks for watching. More to come on BLU's flagship Life One on PhoneDog.com. I'll see you next time.